You're tuning into the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast, the only wrestling podcast covering WWE, AEW, and TNA. Let's get uncooked, uncorked, and uncensored.
What's up, everybody? You are checking out the Uncensored Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, the Hot Commodity MC, joined by my own personal Hot Commodity, B.
That's me.
And today we're covering WWE Monday Night Raw from July 7th, 2025 in Providence, Rhode Island. Kicking off this episode of Raw, Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman all come out. I just wish they would give these guys a group name so I don't have to keep calling them by their fucking name when they come out.
The future of the industry.
Yeah, FIT. Seth goes for the microphone, but Bron Breakker takes it before Seth can grab it. And both Seth and Paul look at each other and talk while Bron Breakker has the mic. Like, why the fuck did he just grab the mic, instead of Seth? But Bron goes on to say, I am standing here because Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman have a vision that has me as the face of the WWE for the next 2 decades. I have a vision of WWE without Sami Zayn. I will never understand why you would cheer someone that's hanging on for dear life to squeeze a little bit of water out of the next rag. Sami Zayn has an expiration date and I'm going to put a stamp on it tonight. And then Seth says, you good, Breakker? Bronson Reed gets on the mic and says, I hit Seth Rollins with 5 tsunamis, and Seth Rollins brought me into this vision, and with that I will get respect I deserve from everyone else. Paul then says, tonight the Empire strikes first. If Sami hasn't hightailed it to Montreal by now, it's his ass on the line. I have love for Jey Uso, but Roman Reigns doesn't have the balls to come back against us. The OTC is MIA. After tonight, Jey Uso will be MIA as well. Tonight, Seth freakin Rollins will don the tights against Penta. I don't understand his stupid hand signals, but he will be stomped into the mat. And then Paul starts speaking in Spanish. And then Seth gets the mic and says, well, boys, we've covered everything. So welcome to Monday Night Rollins. So we finally get to hear from Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed as to why they joined with Seth. But Seth didn't look too happy that Bron Breakker took the mic from him. What do you think of this opening promo, though?
I thought it was good. I feel like we're finally getting some substance from them and some answers. And in my watching this week of like different podcasts and stuff, people are like already speculating that, this is I think it's way too early to say this, but people are like, well, this is the door opening for Bron Breakker to turn on Seth Rollins. But he didn't really like that he spoke up, but it's way too early for that. I think so anyway. But yeah, I want to see what's going to happen with them, and with such big personalities, it's bound to happen. But I think they're going to work together for a while. I feel like maybe we'll see them at War Games or together. Who knows?
I definitely think that's bound to happen for sure. But yeah, Seth was not happy that Bron's taking the spotlight here. We then see Judgment Day backstage, and they're holding like a candlelight vigil for Liv Morgan, which is kind of funny. And Raquel Rodriguez shows up and she's like, what are you doing? And Finn's like, no, this is what it's supposed to be. Roxanne's gonna help you out. Liv's gonna love this. And Raquel's like, Liv's gonna be back soon. And Finn's like, well, it took me 8 months to come back. And then Dominic Mysterio has a get well cake. And we see AJ Styles taunting him. So fun stuff there. Dominic can't compete. We then get Kairi Sane versus one half of the women's tag.
I think we're going to get, AJ and Dom at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Kairi Sane taking on one half of the women's tag champions, Roxanne and Perez. with the other half, Raquel Rodriguez, in the corner. Kairi lands a spinning back fist, a flying forearm, and a flying clothesline off the apron. Roxanne lands a moonsault for a 2 count. Raquel distracts the referee. Kairi lands a flying crossbody to Raquel Rodriguez on the floor. And then Kairi gets the win after a backslide to Roxanne. After Raquel and Roxanne destroy Kairi Sane until former Kabuki Warrior comes out and makes a save, helping her former partner against Raquel and Roxanne. What did you think of this?
I thought it was good. Honestly, I was kind of hoping that Asuka was going to be on her own, but it's more that I just didn't want Damage Control back together because it was getting too boring. But it was really cool for Asuka to come out, and I'm excited to see them at Evolution. I think they have a good chance, and they're a great tag team.
Yeah. Good segment. I like Asuka. She can fuck everybody up. Sami Zayn gets interviewed backstage and Scarlett watches him. Nick Aldis then puts the Kabuki Warriors in the tag team evolution match. He also names Zarya and the NXT Women's North American Champion Sol Ruka. They will also be in that match as well. Nikki Bella gives a promo. She'll be involved in the Women's Battle Royal at Evolution, so I'm excited to see her fight again. We then get our next match, Sami Zayn versus Bron Breakker with Paul Heyman. As Sami Zayn walks to the ring, Karrion Kross attacks Sami on the ramp and hits Sami Zayn in the ribs with a pipe. Sami tells Nick Aldis he still wants to compete. So the match starts. Braun lands a gut buster, hits a spear, and then a running forearm on the floor to Sami. And then Bron Breakker lands a second spear, defeating Sami Zayn here. And Bron Breakker did destroy Sami with some help of Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I don't really know where this is gonna go. Does he want Sami to turn?
I guess he did a promo that wasn't on air, and he basically said that he wants Sami to admit that he's like a bad guy, really, and that he's lying about everything.
I mean, because the commentators went on and on and on and on this week about how Sami Zayn is too much for the fans and that he puts himself in harm's way. And it was just like, I feel like it's not a good angle. Like, he's saying, oh, he's too much for the, like, it's stupid. I would rather just see Sami kind of either turn and say, I felt like Karrion Kross was trying to get Sami to say that he basically wasn't, more like he's not tough. Like, like, he can't get the world championship that he's after, and that he's just like, he can't do it. I don't know. But, I feel like we're going to see them again, and I hope Karrion Kross wins this time.
Yeah, I really like Karrion Kross. New Day are dressed up in all black because they're mourning the loss of the World Tag Titles. Becky Lynch, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, walks by and says, "You're right, Big E is a scumbag," which I found funny. And then Becky comes out to the ring, and Becky says, "Can someone explain how two losers have a title match against me? I get it. I'm the GOAT. I'm hot. You need me on Evolution, but I've beat them both. I deserve to pick my own opponent. It's all a ruse. Bayley and Lyra are working together. They even pinned each other last week." That's when Bayley comes down and is immediately followed by Lyra. Lyra says, "What are you talking about? Becky, you're a lunatic. It's time I took my title back." And Bayley says, "I should be champion. If it wasn't for you, Lyra, I would be champion right now." Lyra says, "Oh, you're speaking to me now." Bayley's like, "Get over it. I don't need any more friends. I do need that championship," talking about how she didn't speak to Lyra for the past couple of weeks. Becky says, "After 13 years of failed friendships, Bayley, another one bites the dust." Lyra says, "Becky called me after attacking you, and wanted me to be the partner and wanted to be my partner at WrestleMania." Becky's like, "Well, I did call you. When I did talk to you, you said Bayley's everything I'm pretending to be. Look at her now." Bailey says, you don't care about friends that make you, or I'm sorry, Lyra says, you don't care about friends that makes you just like Becky. I have to rescue that championship from two massive disappointments. Bailey says, I sat front row when you won that championship on Raw. I watched you lose that championship and you raised Becky's hand like a little bitch. And then Lyra and Bailey fight and Lyra lays out both Becky and Bailey with a Nightwing and these three ladies are going to compete at Evolution. Were you excited about that match after this promo here?
Yeah, I was. I hope that Becky retains. I really hope that Lyra doesn't win. I wouldn't mind if Bailey won, but I'm kind of excited for it. Yeah, it's not like the match I'm looking most forward to, but I want to see it for sure. I think Becky and Bailey will always.
I want to see them fuck up Bird Lady.
That would be. Yeah, I kind of hope they both like turn on her. Like maybe Bailey will like turn into a big bitch again and just they'll fuck her up.
I hope so. Paul Heyman tells Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker that Sami Zayn is out indefinitely. So now my question is going to be, who's Karrion Kross going to go after now that Sami's out? Jey Uso's taking on Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman next. Jey dives onto Bronson Reed, sending him over the announce desk. Jey super kicks Bronson Reed onto a chair and then super kicks Bronson out of the chair. Bronson tosses the chair at Jey Uso, getting a DQ victory for Jey after Bronson Reed lands two tsunamis to Jey Uso and he kept his word. He destroyed Jey Uso here.
Yeah. I definitely think that Roman is coming back soon after Paul Heyman kind of called him out in the beginning, and now like they're fucking with Jey Uso. I think we're gonna get an original bloodline maybe back together plus Jacob Fatu. I think that would be pretty cool, and I have a feeling it might happen this weekend because this is kind of like the last big event before SummerSlam.
Saturday night's main event, you mean, is going to be the big
Saturday night's main event is the last big thing before SummerSlam, and Roman's advertised their SummerSlam. So, I mean, he could always come out on a SmackDown, but I think it would make a Saturday night's main event pretty good if that happens. So,
I agree. I want to see Roman Reigns back. We then get.
I never thought I would hear the day Paul Heyman would say that the tribal chief didn't have the balls to come out.
That's it. Ain't playing no more. El Grande Americano defeats Dragon Lee next after putting a metal piece of, I guess, metal in his mask and lands a running headbutt. This is obviously Ludwig Kaiser. They're clearly saying that Chad Gable was El Grande Americano, which made no sense. Like, what's the point of the character if you know who it is? But what did you think of this win here?
Yeah, it's like they did everything but say it was Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah, they say like had like a German accent.
Yeah, like it was kind of dumb. I feel like he shouldn't have done that. Like, if he had kept his mouth shut, it would have been a little more mysterious for another week or two. I just don't get where they're going with this. I don't get why Ludwig has to dress up as El Grande Americano. He can come out as himself. It's not making sense to me. So I hopefully we get a bigger explanation.
I agree. I don't get it either. But this is what they're giving us. We then get the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther coming out, and Gunther says, Bill Goldberg is afraid of me. And before he can continue, we see a nice ass. I don't even know what type of car this is. What type of car is this?
It's like an old red muscle car.
An old red, I think it's a Cadillac, maybe?
No.
No? No. It's an old red muscle car, whatever. Goldberg arrives to the arena. He immediately comes out. And as Gunther goes to talk on the microphone, Goldberg just fucking tosses that shit to the mat. And Goldberg says, you've been talking too much crap. And then he punches Gunther in the face. Goldberg goes for a spear, but Gunther leaves the ring, and that definitely means we're going to see a spear on Saturday night's main event. I felt like this was a really good promo because it gave more of Goldberg looking like a badass, but Gunther has been making Goldberg look stupid. He's been calling him Bill, making him look to be a normal guy, but Goldberg came out here, fucked up Gunther, and it didn't make me super excited for the match. But it did give me some thought of, okay, will Goldberg be able to handle himself against Gunther here? And it made me think he could.
Yeah, I agree. He wasn't looking very ferocious in the past, but after this week, I feel like, he's gonna hold his own. I do.
Like you hold your own. You're hot.
Sometimes I have to if there's no one else to hold it.
Next up, Penta's taking on Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman in the main event. Penta lands a flying hurricane run off the apron to the floor. Seth lands a gut buster and a frog splash for a 2. Penta lands a Penta driver for a 2. But Seth lands a low blow and a stomp, and Seth Rollins gets the win. After Rollins and his crew is celebrating, but LA Knight comes from out of nowhere and lays out Seth Rollins with a BFT, and a funny moment happens as Bron Breakker tries to chase after LA Knight. He gets stuck on the guard railing, but LA Knight will take on Seth Rollins on Saturday night's main event, so they definitely need to add him to this moment here to get more entertainment. More eyes geared towards Saturday night's main event. What do you think of this main event? And Seth Rollins' crew dominated tonight, but we did see LA Knight take out Seth.
Okay, he was driving a 1968 Plymouth GTX convertible.
Goldberg, okay.
That's what it says. I'm excited. I thought it was pretty good. I'm sorry, it was Seth and
Penta.
Seth and Penta. Oh, I'm excited for Seth and LA Knight a little bit. LA Knight kind of bores me, but I think this will make Seth look dominant. There's no way LA Knight's going to beat Seth Rollins, unless he gets help from other people. But I like Penta, but he doesn't belong in this storyline. You know what I mean? I feel like Penta should be challenging Dominic Mysterio, for the Intercontinental title. Like, he does not belong in Seth Rollins' business. He doesn't belong in the main event yet. I don't see him becoming a world champion in the next 2 or 3 years. I just don't. And I just haven't liked his appearances. Like, on the last pay-per-view, like you said, like, he's supposed to be coming out to save the day, and he's like dancing down the aisle. He's just, I don't know. He's got a lot to learn, I feel like, and a lot to prove. Just because you have a catchphrase and the people like you doesn't mean that you belong to me. That's unfortunate. So,
but I thought they did have a good match, though.
Yeah, it was decent. It was decent. I mean, they're both good wrestlers, and Penta's good. Like I said, he needs to know his spot, and he doesn't belong in the storyline. I feel like.
Respect to that opinion. So that was it for this episode of Raw. I thought it was good. I thought it was better than last week. I give it like a B. What was your favorite match from this episode? I like the opening, the Sammy and Bron Breakker, and I like the main event too.
I liked the Sammy and I liked the Goldberg move there too.
Mm-hmm. That was a good segment. We've got a big weekend of wrestling ahead of us. We've got NXT, which we'll be covering, dropping that recap tomorrow. We've got more Attitude Years coming your way. We have AEW Dynamite, which will be tonight. And then we have SmackDown. Saturday, we have Saturday night's main event. NXT Great America. Well, actually, NXT Great America Bash is at 3 p.m. Saturday night's main event is on NBC at 8. And also, they will be competing against AEW All In. Or no, is that Sunday?
All In is Saturday.
Okay.
So All In is the same time as Evolution.
Okay, so then Sunday you've got All In and Evolution. So a lot of action. So make sure if you like what you're hearing, you subscribe.
Don't even watch. Just listen to us.
Listen to us. Just follow us on YouTube. And until next time, stay safe and stay uncensored.